Hi everyone, welcome to our Career Tips for Success in a Virtual World 8-week series. I'm Tiffany Appleton in the Career Development and Professional Connections office, and this week we have a panel presentation for you. Today we have a couple of HR professionals here to share their ideas with you on resumes and cover letters. We do realize there are many different ideas out there about how to best put together a resume and cover letter, and if you asked 10 people what they like to see, you would probably get 10 different answers. Today, we'll ask these two HR professionals for their perspective on what they like to see on resumes and cover letters. As always, your resume and cover letter are your own documents, and you need to make sure you put them together in a way you feel best represents you for the opportunities you're seeking. Hopefully, some of the tips today will help. So let me introduce our panelists. So we have Angela, a human resources manager with Onto Innovation in the manufacturing industry. And we have Adam, recruiter and marketing specialist with Johnson & Hill Staffing in the human resources industry. So without further ado, let me bring them on the screen here and we can start our chat. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Tiffany.
So why don't we get started and let's start sharing tips for resumes first. So Angela, why don't you start and share with us one tip of something that you like to see and you think is a great idea that you'd like to recommend to students that they may want to consider including on their resumes.
Great. My tip is an overall feel. It's about customization. The more you can customize your resume to the job that you're applying for, I think the better off and the more attention that you'll get. I'm always looking, we're very busy, HR professionals are very busy, and we need to know very quickly if someone is a potential match. Customizing your resume, making sure that you've included the skills that are necessary for that position or the closest skills that you might have, properly highlighting the education that pertains to that position that you're looking for, and just making it as custom and geared toward that position as possible.
Excellent. I like it. Very good tip. How about you, Adam? What would you like to see?
So my resume tip is specific to the skills section of the resume. And before I say that, if anybody out there doesn't have a skills section on the resume already, might want to think about doing one. But in particular, it would be great for prospective employers to be able to get a sense for where your proficiency level is with some of those skills. Some of those skills can really be quantified, so to speak, in a really nice way. For example, computer skills are ones that are oftentimes more easily quantified. You could be like with Microsoft Office, for example, you've got Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You could be a beginner, you could be intermediate, advanced, expert. So those are all different levels of proficiency. So one could say proficient in one of those things, but it's a very broad term and it doesn't help prospective employers to figure out where you're at with those skills. And then it doesn't help them to figure out whether or not your skills and your level is in alignment with what they need for their particular job. So with Excel, for example, you might end up being somebody who is proficient in VLOOKUPs or pivot tables. Things like that are inherently more advanced. So if a person sees your resume and sees that you can do VLOOKUPs, they know quickly that, if they know Excel, they know quickly that you are an advanced user of Excel. For other computer examples, there are some assessments available online you can take. Those results will oftentimes kind of give you a little bit of a sense of where you're at. You can use the results from those to put on the resume to help quantify that more and just cue your viewers in a little bit more as to where you're at with that.
Excellent. And I'm just going to take a second and add one little piece on here to what Adam just said. One of the things I also like to recommend when it comes to skills, and I'll play right along with the Excel one, if you can have it in the skills section and then also allude to it in the bulleted portion of your resume. So for example, if you're talking about a report that you put together and you did that report in Excel, well, why not add to the end of that bullet that talks about the report utilizing Excel pivot tables and lookups? And that's a way to really hit it home that you now have that experience. It shows where you've used the experience and it really truly quantifies it in that bullet. It should also be in the skills section. There is nothing wrong with beating somebody over the head with your experience on something like that. Thanks for making me think of that, Adam. So let's jump to cover letters. Angela, do you want to weigh in here on what you like to see when it comes to cover letters?
I'd love to. I think this is one of the most important things, and I think it's greatly overlooked these days. If you have the opportunity to add a cover letter, I would do it. Some people, they're not required as much anymore, but I think they're very important because this is your chance to quickly show the employer why you're a good match and why they should hire you. It's kind of your chance to show why you shine over somebody else. So I would customize it, be very specific. Excuse me. Start out with a general statement about what you're looking for, perhaps, or what your background is, short and concise, and then tell me how you match the skills that I'm looking for. As Tiffany said, if we're looking for an Excel expert, tell me about your Excel skills. If we're looking for somebody with a degree in microelectronics or electrical engineering, tell me that you graduated and took extra classes or whatever the case may be. If you have skills and experience that directly relate to the position, definitely tell me about those. If you don't, then tell me about your aspirations. You have a great interest in a certain area. You have aspirations of learning that you'd love to learn it, that you'd be willing to learn it. So tell me what you have that relates to the position, and tell me, if you don't have those things, tell me how you're going to get there and why we should hire you.
Excellent. I like it. All very positive. Adam, what do you have to add?
Yeah, I agree with all of what Angela said. My tip actually should piggyback on that pretty well. And as much as there's some talk out there right now about the cover letters kind of becoming a little passé, I do think it's really good for folks at various levels because of the narrative opportunity that it offers you. But I think especially when you're at a point where you're young in your career and maybe you're applying for jobs so you don't quite have all the skills, but you can do the job, this is the big moment for you to be able to spell that out. So with that said, my tip is tied into really transferable skills and try into the cover letter. And for me, that's kind of a two-step process for how one would do that. So first, you would start off with what I think some people would call a skills inventory, where you're going to really look at what you've done. And what you've done could mean coursework. It could be internships. It could be part-time jobs. It could be anything that you've spent the last 4 years doing. And you're going to take each of those things and really write down and brainstorm, self-reflect a list of skills that are associated with those things. For example, many folks may have spent some years as an RA while they were in school. So great, you take your RA experience and then you're going to put in there what skills you've used: communication skills, and probably therefore customer service skills. You've had to mediate and work in difficult situations, possibly difficult personalities. You've had different times where you've had to communicate with your own team of RAs, possibly some directors, to escalate an issue, find solutions. So just within that, at a very quick thought process of never having been an RA myself, I can easily find a lot of different skills that are applicable to a lot of jobs out there. And you would do the same thing if you were waitstaff, a bartender, an internship, or even if it's coursework. Look through your coursework and find different skills that you might have used to work on special projects, group projects, or different things like that. And you'll build those list of skills. Then you'll pull the job up that you're trying to apply to, look at some of the things in there that might tie into those transferable skills, and then really do a wonderful job in the narrative, in the cover letter, of using those transferable skills to really showcase yourself and market yourself as a strong candidate, despite the fact that maybe you haven't done A, B, and C. So I think that's something that could really help to give candidates an edge in the process.
I agree entirely. I have always enjoyed reading cover letters, especially when the person writing the cover letter takes the opportunity to make it not a form letter. You know, when they actually use it to personalize who they are, give their voice to it, and I can get like a view into them as a person. Whereas on a resume, you just kind of get I don't know, it's their ranks, you know, it's all of those things. And the cover letter can just make the person sound more like an actual person. Like you get a window into who they are, which I think can be very important. So I think those are some great tips. Hopefully everyone watching this feels those are some great takeaways too. And good luck putting together those resumes and cover letters. And hopefully we'll come back to you again with some more tips.